So today we are going to actually start this class more or less, okay? We are going to start in our textbook, and we are on page P11. That's not page 11, that's page P11. It's chapter 0, lesson 3, and it's called Operations with Integers. And we're going to talk about what those are. My hope is that this is completely review for you, okay? But we're going to go over these things because if we're not all on the same page about this, that could be a problem. So first we're going to look at page P11, example 1. We're not going to use the number line. We're just going to add -3 plus -4. Okay? Okay, so the rule here is that if you are adding two negative numbers, the result will always be a negative number. Y'all all know that, right? It's always going to be a negative number. If you see two negative signs and an addition sign, it's going to be negative. All right, now it's different for subtraction, but two negative numbers add to be a bigger negative number. So what do these two negative numbers add to be? -7. So the procedure is just add the numbers and stick a negative sign in front of it. So 3 plus 4 is 7. So -3 plus -4 is -7. That's example 1 from page P11. Okay? Yes. Oh yeah, please take notes. Yeah, thanks. Okay, now the next, down here there's a word or a phrase, a noun phrase highlighted in yellow. And that noun phrase is important. It is called absolute value. ABSOLUTE, absolute value, VALUE. Best way to learn absolute value is to just remember this. The absolute value of any number is positive. Okay? The absolute value of any number is positive. So let's show some examples of absolute value. Here's an example. And you draw these two vertical bars around the thing. The absolute value of -4 is the positive version of that number. So what's the absolute value of -4? Just 4. And the absolute value, let's do another example. The absolute value of, and we're going to put in here something, okay? We're going to put in here like this. 3 minus 6. Here's what you do with this. First, you do the thing inside. So what is 3 minus 6? -3. So this is the absolute value of 3 minus 6 equals the absolute value of -3 And we know that the absolute value of any negative number is positive. So the answer is 3. Okay, so that's absolute value. Okay, so now the next part of this, they go into a discussion of how you can kind of estimate what's going to happen with a problem. This is this blue box here on page P11. Just take a look at these examples here. We're going to do negative 11 plus 6. The negative number is the bigger number, right? So the result will be negative. So this is all I want to do here is just say this will be a negative number, right? Because the bigger number was negative. Here's another example. Negative 4 plus 7. The bigger number is a positive number, so the result is going to be positive. And just so we're practicing, let's go ahead and do these. Negative 11 plus 6. Negative 5. Very good. And so how did you do that? The way that you do that is you basically just subtract 6 from 11, and that's 5, and you put a negative sign in front of it. Negative 4 plus 7. 3. It's just 7 minus 4, and that's 3. All right. Okay, so now I want to talk about additive inverses. There's another term. ADDITIVE inverse. INVERSE inverses SES. Okay. This one's really easy. Example. Negative 5 plus 5 equals 0. And where this becomes important is if we use letters, if I say negative x plus x, the result is still 0. Okay? So far, so good? Additive inverses are easy. Can I erase all this? Okay. We're almost done. I want to practice subtraction. I know this. Maybe super review for a lot of you, but I want to practice subtraction where there's a lot of borrowing involved. So we'll take 8, 0, 3, and we'll subtract from it 25. Okay, now we're not going to do this in our heads. We'll actually perform the subtraction. So I can't take 5 away from 3, so I have to borrow, right? Cancel. And I go over here, and uh-oh, that's a 0. So I have to go one more over. Now what do I do with the 8? Now what do I make the 0? I make it a 10, but then I make it a 9 because I need to borrow 1 to go over here. And then what does this become? I add 10 to the 3 to make a 13. Great job. Okay. Now is it all going to work? Yeah, it's all going to work now. 13 minus 5. 8. Nice job. 9 minus 2. 7. 7 minus nothing. 7. So the answer is 778. Now, just want to take just a second here to identify what these are called. Not that this is just kind of trivia, maybe bonus questions on test. The top number is called the min end. Did you guys ever learn this? So the top, this is kind of cool, right? The top number in a subtraction problem is called the min end. The bottom number is called the subtrahend. S-U-B-T-R-A-H-E-N-D, subtrahend. The answer to the subtraction problem is called the difference. D-I-F-F-E-R-E-N-C-E, difference. Great job. Great job. Almost done. Okay. Now we're going to look at this concept of distribution over parentheses. So let's take a look at -5, open parentheses, 6. What does the parentheses mean? Multiply. The parentheses means multiply. So we have -5 times 6. When you multiply a negative times a positive, the answer is going to be negative. So what is -5 times 6? -30. Let's look at another example. So out here, we just have this negative symbol hanging out. Okay. What's really happening is that this is -1 times 3. Okay? This will become more important when we're actually doing algebra and not just arithmetic. So what is -1 times 3? -3. Whenever we see these parentheses, we like to use this word distribute. This -5 is being distributed inside the parentheses. Now, it makes no sense when there's just one thing in there, but there will be multiple things in there later. So you can draw these little distribution lines if that helps you. It helps me. So, okay, let's look at another example. Let's do -4 times -5. What's the rule about a negative times a negative? It's going to be a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. So what is -4 times -5? 20. And how about this? Let me write this here. Uh-oh. So we got to do the thing in the parentheses first. What is 4 times -5? -20, right? So maybe we want to come down here and say, all right, so write this down. We're going to do a second step. Negative, open parentheses, -20. Now what? Go back up here. You're going to distribute that negative symbol. So what it's really saying is -1 times -20. And what does that equal? +20. Yeah. Multiplying a negative number by -1 just changes it to a positive number. I feel like we covered division before. We did the long division. You guys understood that. So what I'd like you to do is do problems on page P12. This is your homework. If you get it done before you leave, you don't have any homework. Do numbers 1 through 23 odds. And last year I didn't do this. This year I want to make sure that I clarify. Does everyone understand what odd numbers are? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Keep going. Good. And the evens would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Don't do those. Yeah? Unless you want to. Yeah, you can just stick with the odds. Let's see how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's not too bad. Don't use any calculation devices of any kind. And show all your work. Okay? Make sure you show all your work. No, just do it inside your math journal. Guys, for the problems that aren't word problems, okay, for the problems that aren't word problems, I want you to actually write the problem and the answer with all the steps. For the word problems, you can just write down the kind of the work, right? I'm not going to make you copy out all these sentences, but please show me. In other words, I want to be able to look at your assignment and be able to do the problem, okay, by just without having to refer to the textbook. All right. Well, listen. Thank you. Thanks for putting up with that. Thanks for listening. And for those of you at home, what I want you to do is I want you to also do problems number 1 through 23 odds on page P12, but you're going to access your textbook digitally, and I'll send you a video on how to do that, and then just take pictures of your work and upload them to Google Classroom to the assignment. Thanks so much.